Okay, ready? All right, I am going to call this meeting to order tonight. Can we start with board member introductions? Yeah.
Jeff Haley.
Joanne O'Brien.
Molly Rogers.
Linda Capullo.
Melissa Tracy.
Becky Bless.
Tony V.
Megan Carlson.
Sean Pope. Larry Manning.
Michelle Tucker.
Matt Willybridge.
And administrative staff, Pat Hopkins, superintendent.
Lauren Arnold, principal at Gardner High.
Nate Stubbard, athletic director.
Katie Gould, principal at Helen Thompson School. Karen Moody, principal at Howard Richard School.
Sarah Sims, principal at Gardner Regional Middle School.
Tiffany Coppell, principal at Consolidated School. Angela Hardy, director of curriculum. Sarah Bolduc, director of special services.
Andrea Dish, business manager. Terry McGuire, director of technology.
Great, thank you. Then let's pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you. All right, so from here, we need to move into the election of the chair, the vice chair. The school board has a policy, policy BDA, that requires reorganization shall be effected at the first regular meeting in April of odd number year. So that is right now, this year. And it says that the first order of business shall be the election of the chair and the vice chair. So I'm going to open the floor for nominations for chair.
Madam Superintendent, I nominate our present chair, Becky Bless.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other nominations?
I nominate Jeff Henley.
I'll second that.
Sean? Okay. So any other nominations? Just the two. Okay. Then what our options are, we can either vote by a show of hands, or you can vote by secret ballot. So I just need to know what you would like to do.
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
Is this a weighted vote?
yes, and it will be. Mhm. Yes.
Secret ballot.
Secret ballot? Everyone okay with that?
No objection. Sure.
Okay. Right, I brought pads of
See?
paper,
That was good.
just in case, so. Please cast your ballot, your vote, and then fold that and send it back to me, and I will.
You need our name on it.
I do not need your name. No, I don't need.
Oh, is it weighted?
Oh, yes, sorry, your name.
Oh, we
And
should just
only
do a show
I,
of
sorry,
hands.
and I will only know. Well, we do weighted votes.
No, I mean, we could just do a show of hands.
Yes, but it was asked that we
Okay.
do this
fine.
confidential, but put
That's
your
fine.
name on it, you're right, if I'm gonna
Okay.
do weighted votes.
Point of
And
order.
only I will look to see what those numbers are.
Point of order. My understanding according to Robert's rules is that the chairperson doesn't vote unless there's a tie. So could we discuss that?
Well, there is no current chair. Right now, you are voting for chair, so there is no
Okay.
chair.
Thank you for that
You're welcome.
clarification.
That's
Appreciate
why, yeah, I'm starting the meeting.
it. Okay,
Okay.
yep, thank you.
I passed them down.
One more for maybe two. And do that.
I'm gonna move back here. So
Yep.
They remain confidential.
Very good.
the seat up here in the front, Gabe, if you want it.
Okay. So we have 8 votes for Becky. We have 4 votes for Jeff. So that works out to 9,104 votes for Becky and 4,508 votes for Jeff. So the elected chair is Becky Bless.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All right, then I
And Jeff,
Give this
thank you for
back to
offering
you.
to do that. I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Can you give Becky the list from the phone?
Oh,
We have to do
No,
vice
you
chair.
need to do
Oh, you gotta
vice
wait?
chair.
Yeah, it's okay. Just hang on to some officially.
We're gonna do that by sequence.
It depends. Same process.
Depends on, it's the same process. I would like to nominate Tony Beat for the vice chair position.
Second,
Who was that?
well, Molly or me, whichever you want.
And is there anyone else who would like to throw their hat into this ring? All right, then. So I guess
Show
we
of
have the
hands?
same, we
That could
can
be a
do a
show of
hit, a
hands.
secret ballot, or we can do a show of hands.
Versus nothing.
There's nobody
Who else is?
And if there's somebody who votes against and they don't want to be known, or abstains and they don't want to be, I want to show everyone the same
Well,
respect.
yeah, the policy says if there's more than one candidate is nominated for either position, then the vote shall be by show of hands or secret ballot. Since there's only one person, I would just do show of hands.
All right, then, let's put on our big kid pants. All those in favor of electing Tony? Okay, look at that.
I'm in
Thank
favor,
you.
but.
Are you-
don't wanna vote
I know
for
it's
me.
silly, right?
And so, just so you were all aware, when we do the minutes for the vote for Becky, normally we identify who voted what way. I'm not going to do that so that we maintain that confidentiality.
I appreciate that.
Instead, I'm just going to include
The total.
the totals, okay? So you will see that's different than what we typically do, but that's the reason, okay? And these will all be shredded.
And now you can get it.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much to the board. Always happy to serve. It's an honor. We're gonna now head into, oh, thank you for that. Is there anyone uncomfortable with me having this list? Is there anyone else who would like to do the list so that we make certain that we go through this appropriately? I just want to. It's, okay.
List of the public.
The list of public comment, it's residents and then staffs, students and staff, and then people that don't live within the district, people from other places. So I wouldn't want anyone to ever think that we're monkeying with the list. So if you're uncomfortable with me doing the list, I'm happy to pass it to someone else. And I'm going to read the public comment statement, which has come up, so I will address that, and that is not something that I created. It's something that was created by an attorney that follows the statute and the law around public comment. And I know that there was a question in a special board meeting that we had about about items on the agenda versus not on the agenda. The law changed 3 years ago so that public comment, no matter where you're doing public comment, is for anything. It's not whatever the meeting is in particular to, it is public comment for anything. So we just need to answer the questions as we can, which we typically don't do. We try and get back to whomever has a question in the best, fastest way possible. So are there any questions about that before the statement is read by Tony? Any questions? Okay, I just want that to be understood and on the record.
All right,
All right.
thank you. We're about to convene into the public comment period of our meeting. State law in Maine requires a public comment item on agendas of a full meeting of the school board. Please note that the public comment period is not designed to be a discussion. Accordingly, please do not expect the board to respond to your concerns and questions tonight. I also want to point out that under state and federal privacy laws, we are unable to entertain any comments or questions about school personnel, particular student matters, any rumors presented as fact that compromise the privacy of others, and any health or medical information protected as confidential. On any matter of concern, we would ask you to go through the appropriate administrative channels. We ask that speakers please address comments to the board directly rather than to the audience. Speakers may address items pertinent to tonight's meeting agenda or any topic related to the school unit's programs, policies, or operations. In the unlikely event the meeting becomes unruly, the board will recess the meeting and return once order has been restored. Finally, I want to remind everyone that you may submit written comments to the board in lieu of speaking during the public comment period if you so choose. Regarding the protocol for this evening, please review the board pamphlet, Welcome to our School Board Meeting, that provides a copy of policy BEDH, which is public participation at board meetings, that explicitly outlines the manner in which the public comment will be managed. Individuals who wish to speak are required to fill out the sign-in form. Those who wish to speak will be required to state their name and town or city of residence before beginning your remarks. Consistent with policy BEDH, the board will hear public comments from residents and employees of the school unit first. If there is time remaining in the public comment period, once all residents have had the opportunity to speak, the board will permit comments from non-residents. The board will now entertain public comments for 20 minutes. Each individual speaker is allotted 2 minutes. The individual time limits will be enforced so that as many members of the public who wish to speak may be allowed to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Captain Weezy. I got your name right.
So my name is Catherine Levy. I live in Pittston, Maine. I'm a junior at Gardner High School. This is just gonna be my regular spiel, I guess, that I always like to say when these meetings happen. I would like to ask all board members to do your research on things, even if you don't think you need to not listen to what might be fear mongering, to make sure you step outside of your own opinions and make sure that you see everyone's views, and to be compassionate and listen to the people you're affecting. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Jen Scully.
Hi, my name is Jen Scully. I live in Pittston. I'm the parent of 2 children who attend MSAD11 schools. I want to thank the school board for your thoughtful and difficult work that went into developing this year's budget. I recognize you are faced with the challenge of doing more with less, and I appreciate the care you took in trying to prioritize students while making very tough decisions. I also want to express gratitude to the dedicated staff. Your continued commitment to our students during these challenging times is seen and appreciated. But we also have to be honest. These budget cuts will have real consequences for kids. Fewer teachers mean larger class sizes, less opportunities, less individual support. Cuts to special education may prevent services or stretch caseloads to the point where students' IEP goals aren't going to be met. Reductions in school nurses affect how we respond to medical needs, chronic conditions, and mental health crises. And fewer counselors or social workers leave vulnerable students without the help they need to succeed. On top of that, we're facing uncertainty around Title I federal funding, money that supports Title I and special education services. If these funds don't come through, our district would be looking at an additional 1.3 million gap, and this will truly be a crisis. Some outside groups, community members, and some board members might feel that the most important issues facing MSAD11 are where people go to the bathroom or surveys or schools trying to secretly provide gender affirming care. I assure you, these are not our greatest concerns. Our biggest concern should be the very real situation of not having enough money to make sure that every student has what they need to learn, grow, and succeed. Thank you.
Joshua Jenkins.
Hi, my name is Joshua Jenkins. I'm one of the English teachers at Gardner Area High School. I'm here because I have seen online statements about the content that we teach at the high school that are baseless. For example, some individuals online have made public statements that we do not teach the Bible at the school. This is outrageous. Not only do we include the Bible as part of our English language curriculum at the high school and have it available in the library, until recently, I taught a week-long unit on Christian ethics in a philosophy and critical studies course. Unfortunately, that course was cut in last year's reduction in the English department. This year, we may lose the additional class, Holocaust and Civil Rights Studies. This class focuses, among other things, on the work of Christian minister and icon Martin Luther King Jr. Okay. Clearly, we are in danger of losing the sort of things that get kids excited about their learning, both their time here and beyond. Instead of focusing on the phantom issue of transgender students posing an existential threat to this district, I would ask that board members focus on how are we going to meet the challenge of having increased enrollment next year at the high school while simultaneously having fewer teachers and fewer classes for them to take. I have been concerned, as have others, about seeing voices from people and organizations from outside this district, flush with dark money to deride the work we do here at the school. They openly celebrate slogans like embrace exclusion, a statement so totally antithetical to the mission of education that it beggars belief. I would know that my colleagues and I would love nothing
10
more than to
seconds.
talk about what we teach and why we teach it with any parent, board member, or citizen. Thank you.
Justin Basinger.
Hello, my name is Justin and I live in the district. I spent my public school career in this district and am raising my children here as well. It's incredibly clear that I'm pushing against the hate groups Courage is a Habit and Parents' Rights in Education and the school board members associated with them. It's also clear that I am in favor of a school-based health center, a center that is by Maine state law run the exact same way as a doctor's office. Alvin and Alan, leaders of these groups, think that a health center is a place for grooming children, that staff are mutilating children, and that they are fighting for women's rights. They push this rhetoric into our communities and make people think that kids at the high school are defecating in litter boxes and being given narcotics, when in reality, they should be taking all of this up with their state legislator, because that is where the laws get changed, not at the school board. They just follow the laws. Guess what? None of the things they say are true. These people are liars. They know their claims are false, so they personally attack community members that call them out. Many of us have been personally attacked, myself included. There's never facts, only attacks. There are members on the school board that interact with these posts from these hate groups and meet virtually with them and in person for trainings and other get-togethers. These members are friends with Alan and Alvin, and they are capable of asking them publicly to stop attacking our community members and should do so hastily. I'd like to finish with this. Trans women are women, trans men are men. People are not changing their gender to go into a bathroom. They aren't changing to win at sports. No one is being forced to change. Why would they take such a difficult route, a path generally riddled with harassment, loss of friends and family members, painful shots and hormones, for what? Just to use the other bathroom to win at high school basketball? No, they do it to be who they really are and to just live their lives peacefully. So Alan and Alvin, cut the crap, mind your own damn business and leave. You're not welcome here. Thank you.
Oh, Olivencia.
Hi, my name is Hope Olivencia, and I'm from Gardner. I have grandchildren in the system. My daughter graduated from Gardner High School. I'd like to thank all of the School board, you all volunteer, so thank you all for what you do. It's not an easy job. It sure as hell hasn't been easy since October, when it seemed like everything has just gone to shit. Becky, in February at that meeting, you specifically asked everybody to kind of tone it down, and you really were trying to be a mediator, and I appreciated your efforts. At that, I wanted to call you out on that.
Thank you.
And as for the clinic itself, I have a few suggestions. We need to make sure that everybody knows it's still under research. It's not like it's getting ready to open next week and it's this big hot topic. And for the research, I did some on my own. I emailed several of the school board health clinics around the nation. I got answers to a lot of the common questions. Instead of Googling and getting misinformation and outright lies, I got answers from the people. It wasn't a sales pitch from Health Reach. It was literally from the schools in Maine and around the country. So they don't give any prescription medication. The schools, all the ones who answered me, I had 5 that answered, none of them have given any binders, not a one. Okay, the cost is by insurance, Medicare, and other programs. Now that's all up in the air with what's going on. However, the benefits for these clinics, there have been better attendance for the students and the staff, more students participating in sports. With the better attendance and participation in activities, grades are up. So they all think it's wonderful. And then I was also invited to tour the different facilities. I haven't had the opportunity, but I will. I'm going to go just as a concerned constituent and go and get a tour. Then the parents are told that if they want to opt out, they can. On a personal note, nobody chooses to be trans. They're the most hated group in the world at the moment. Why would you want to have a horrible thing? Caring for others is an expression of what it means to be fully human.
Thank you.
It is because the human experience is universal, that human rights are universal and cut across all religions and cultures.
Thank you. Yeah, and I need to remind everyone, we got to stop. Few minutes, and if we can refrain from 4-letter words, unless it's like love and have and those kind of 4-letter words, that would be great. Emma Doxy.
I'm Emma and I am from Pittston. I'm here today not just as a concerned parent, but as an enraged one. This district is under attack, and the worst part, it's coming from inside the house, enabled by the 3 stooges of stupidity sitting on this very board. These so-called leaders have welcomed support, sometimes financial, from known hate groups like Alan, Tim, and Alvin, strangers and internet trolls, despicable men who don't live in our district, some not even in our state. Yet somehow the Bigot Butt Club thinks they deserve influence over our children than the parents who live here, raise our kids here, and show up to these meetings over and over again. These hate groups call parents trans cultists, accuse our schools of child mutilation, and mock parents' appearance for sport. And now our personal phone numbers and my physical address have been shared in their forums. We're getting death threats, parents, teachers, families, children who live in the very district you're supposed to protect. And what have the PTA rejects done about it? Nothing. You sit there in silence while these hate groups publicly praise you, while your followers terrorize our community. That silence, that's complicity. That is cowardice dressed up as leadership. You talk about parent rights, but only if the parents think like you and raise children like you. Everyone else you vilify and you dehumanize, then hide behind morality as if it shields you from the consequences. Let me be very clear. We are not afraid of your hate. We're not afraid of the outsiders you've invited in, and we're not going anywhere. You cannot hate the gay away. You cannot bully us into silence. The parents of this district are done tolerating your abuse. We demand better, we demand safety, and we demand leadership that reflects the values of your own mission statement for all children. Do better or step the heck aside.
I will say for myself, I think it's really unfortunate that phone numbers and addresses of private citizens have been shared. And I think everyone has a right to believe the way they believe and think the things they think, and that we need to be respectful all the way around. So I'm personally sorry that your information has been shared. I have tried to find out where it comes from. Haven't had any success, but I do think that we need to be responsive as much as we can. and be respectful. This board needs to respect everyone in this community, whether they agree with us or not. And as board members, we are here for all students, no matter what, we're here for every single student, whether they think like I do or not. I'm here to represent all students.
Thank you.
And we need to be better. So I apologize to anyone who's received those text messages that are unwanted and not very nice. I have lots of screenshots of them, so I'm very sorry about that. Next is Christine Holzinger.
I'm Christine Holzinger from Pittston. I've been a resident there for over 40 years. I'm here to express my concern also about the budget and about following the law. And I'd like to ask the board to rescind all of your ACAA policies allowing biological males to compete in girls' sports. All through COVID, we heard the demand to trust the science. Well, the science is that there's a multitude of differences between males and females, which was the reason Title IX was passed in 1972 to begin with. That science hasn't changed because it's become popular to recognize feelings over biology. I believe you have been working on a school budget, present to MSAD11 communities. Have you prepared an austerity budget? Continuing down this path of defying the federal government, which I believe takes precedent over state law, is a risky option. As a taxpayer, I can say with a measure of certainty that Pittston residents don't have the money to pick up the shortfall when the federal monies are withheld. I urge you to rescind ACAA and revert to the original Title IX. Our girls deserve your support. And it's the responsible thing to do for our taxpayer. Thank you.
Jennifer Richardson. Doesn't matter. Stop, she's on her pad.
Jennifer Richardson from Gardner. I'm glad that the person that spoke before me is talking and concerned about equality in sports and extracurricular activities, because there's been a glaring inequity for decades. Extracurricular activities have been available to those kids that have transportation. If you don't have a parent who can pick you up, drop you off in evening after games or whatever, you can't participate. And if, obviously, if we're gonna be worried about inequality, we should address the inequality of the kids who don't have transportation to actually participate. I mean, I know there are 2 trans athletes in the state of Maine, but there are thousands of children left out of extracurricular activities because they don't have transportation. Yet I have not heard a single syllable about advocating for those kids, and that's disappointing. Music, I heard that there was some sort of suggestion for music to start before school. That's another way to discriminate against children that don't have transportation. I prepared a list of how music benefits a student, and it's immeasurable. And the other part is that not all children come to school because they want to be a college whatever. Some find their passion along the way in art, in music, in the technology schools, and to limit their exposure to different, education is criminal, and I'm hoping that we support all families. Thank you.
Aaron Card.
Good evening, Madam Chair and school board members. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Erin Card and I live in Gardner. I come to you tonight as both a parent of a kindergartner in the district and a music educator in a neighboring district. I want to start by voicing my support for the school-based health clinic. I deeply appreciate the thoughtful dialogue and consideration that's being put into this initiative. I understand that much of the process hinges on the MOU, and until that's finalized, we're in a bit of a holding pattern. However, I want to share that in the district where I teach, we have a school-based health clinic, and it has been an incredible resource for our community. Like Gardner, we're grappling with chronic absenteeism, a substitute teacher shortage, and a high population of low-income families. While the clinic obviously hasn't fixed everything, it has absolutely helped, and it's made a positive difference in the students and their ability to attend school and access care. I hope to see that opportunity extended to MSAD11. My priority tonight, however, is to speak to the recently proposed elimination of in-school beginning band. I want to acknowledge and thank the curriculum committee for ultimately voting against the proposed cut and schedule change. That was the right decision. I'm speaking tonight because I know that these kinds of proposals come back around, and I want it to be on record that this community values music education and that we're watching closely. If we're serious about what's best for students, we cannot afford to revisit this again. Let me be crystal clear, this change would be detrimental to the music program in MSAD11. I'm certainly not an expert on really anything, but I can speak to some level of expertise in regard to instrumental music education. I know how programs thrive, and I know how they die. This change, while perhaps appealing on paper, will erode the program from the bottom up. Will we see the effects immediately? Maybe not, but in a few years, when there aren't enough students to run a musical or fill the middle and high school bands, it will be too late.
10 seconds.
I want to share something that we as a board member with whom I've historically disagreed with on many issues, but at the curriculum meeting,
Thank you.
we agreed. Thank you.
Okay, Tracy? Yes, it is.
It's 20 minutes.
Good evening, my name is Victoria Tracy. I live in Randolph and I'm currently a sophomore at Gardner Area High School. Due to ongoing political uprise and opposition coming from this board, I felt it was my duty to address all of you today, in person. Multiple board members, as mentioned numerous times by other members of this community, support harmful anti-government groups and individuals, some of which have seemed to make it their personal goal to bring me into their ring. Some even went as far as to attempting to publicly defame multiple board members, all of whom I respect and trust. The ungodly actions of some of those I see in front of me has not only affected our community, but it has made its way into my household. I, at 15, have had to realize how ugly the world is and how far some people will go just to make themselves heard. Hate has no place at MSAD11. Students are seeing what is being posted. They watch these meetings, they attend these meetings, and they have heard your hateful words. Do not pretend that you are here to represent every student because you simply do not. Your actions show that you have absolutely no idea what is going on within the district that you are supposed to protect. I stand here today as a student, a woman, a human, asking all of you to please stop. Your actions have only fueled social divide, even among students. I will not stop attending these meetings, and I will not stop speaking about how the actions of some board members have affected our community in such an ugly way. The one thing I want all of you to listen to is this: I am here. We are here, and we will not stop until MSAD11 is restored to equilibrium and this discriminatory actions of some board members are stopped. Thank you.
20 minutes.
So
Madam Chair.
we are at 20 minutes. There are still 5 people. What we did at our last meeting was we voted to continue so that these last 5 people could speak. At the last meeting, we just did a simple vote and we didn't weigh the vote, and actually the vote did not win, but I didn't know that until afterwards. So anyway, if we're gonna do it, it needs to be weighted votes. So is there any interest in letting these 5 people speak? It would certainly be equitable. Make a motion to continue. Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. And we need to weigh them.
No, that was unanimous.
No. At the end. Oh, yes, thank you.
It was
You understood
unanimous,
what
so
I
I don't
meant.
need to weigh.
Weigh nothing.
Okay.
Weigh everything. Weigh nothing. Okay.
So an
Next on our
additional
list.
10 minutes, or do we need to time just
So
individuals?
it's 2 minutes
Yeah.
per person, so that's 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
10 minutes ought to do it. Thank
Very
you very
good.
much.
Yep.
Mark Cohn.
Thank you, Chair, members of the board. My name is Mark Cohn. I'm a resident of Gardner, MSAD11 graduate. My parents worked in the district. I've had 3 children graduate from the district. I expect my grandchildren will be in this district. I'm also a past board member and finance committee member. And full disclosure, I did it for the lucrative salary. So, anyway, I want to share my observations from the past month's finance committee meetings as the FY26 budget was developed. Each year, the administration puts forth their hopes in a proposed new budget, and then the hard grind starts to determine what eventually will be in the budget proposal. It's never easy. I want to applaud and thank the administration and finance committee members for their diligence in crafting final budget proposals. I want to recognize the administration for their focus on finding ways to meet the educational demands and other services needed by the students and staff with different ways of doing business. I want to thank the questions the committee members posed. From those questions, I observed the administrative staff's defense of areas where cuts should not go deeper at this time. As a result of those interactions, my sense is we need to believe and trust the administration and their skills. I also want to thank Andrea Dish for putting a lot of this budget information in format many of us can better understand what's going on. So thank you, Andrea. In summary, we continue to have challenging times and budgets are never perfect. But I again want to thank you all, board members, administrators, and staff for the work done to get you where you are today. Good luck in your meeting tonight. Thank you.
Janelle McKinnon.
Hello, Janelle McKinnon from West Gardner. I'm actually the current write-in for the board position. Just wanted to introduce myself and kind of clear up some confusion because I have had people ask that I am not associated with any of the groups. I chose to run completely on my own. I actually discussed running back in December with Molly, and at the time wasn't quite ready, but then changed my mind. It's a little too late, so I'm not on the ballot, but I just wanted to say that and let everybody know that publicly, that that's where I stand. And then I also looked at the agenda for tonight, and I just wanted to let everybody know that I grew up in Jefferson and I attended Camp Wavis and Camp Kiev as a 7th grader. And both camps are great for students. And so I know that the GSBA club has an opportunity to go there. And I think it would be great for them to attend. That's all.
Fred Merrill. Such a great treat to see Fred, another former board member here. So.
My name is Fred Merrill. I live in West Gardner on 64 Hinkley Road. I've lived there for quite a while now. I haven't been in this room for quite a few years. I am here tonight because of the ugly stuff that I see on the internet about school board members, about people who run, about outside groups that come here. I don't understand why you allow them to speak. I am interested in one thing, and it's the education of the children in this school district. I'm interested in one thing when I vote for a school board member, is that you will take care of these children. I spent a lot of time here. I think that you should be talking about children, not outside groups or anything they have to say. This district is about us. And it should remain about us. And if anybody's been elected on this board because of an outside group and you support them, you should be ashamed of yourself. And you should probably move out of this community. I worked extremely hard for many years here. And I don't intend to have somebody from outside this district come here and destroy it. Now, I've told you where I live. If you want to come to my house, you come right ahead. I'll be there. But you should leave board members and other community members alone. And I appreciate the board. I appreciate the teachers and staff that work here. They're very important to our community. And people should not be listening to people from outside that want to say they're not doing their jobs. They take care of our kids every day, folks. Don't let that stuff
10 seconds.
come in here. Thank you. By the way, I'm tapped. I don't want to be.
Quincy Merrill.
He's an extension of me.
Hi, my name is Quincy Merrill. I am at the Helen Thompson School in West Gardner. And I'm coming up here today because I've seen things online that are not true. And if you're going to be a board member, you need to speak the truth. Thank you.
Juliana Sepper? Sorry if I butchered your name, I'm so sorry.
Okay, I'm used to it. My name is Juliana Soper. I'm from Augusta. I'm a student at Coney High School, and I am here tonight speaking because I heard at the curriculum committee meeting on the 8th, an idea was brought up to move elementary beginner band to the beginning of the day before school and to change it from a curricular program to a co-curricular program. As someone who has been in band since 5th grade, music has been the foundation of my schooling experience. Band has been where I have found my place in school and has become my reason to go to school every day. If this idea does come back around, and it does go through, the younger generations of musicians will not want to pursue music. They will not want to go to a school they aren't familiar with. They will not want to go on a bus with middle and high schoolers, and they will not want to have to be awake and go to school earlier than their peers. This change would not just affect your school, but it affects all the schools in the community. This makes it seem acceptable to make music a co-curricular program, which it shouldn't be. All the rebuilding we have had to do since COVID will be for nothing. Putting the pressure of running a music program all on one person is as crazy as having a superintendent run all the schools in your district. It's a severely crazy job managing tons of different students, their musical opportunities, and what instruments they play, where they play, all the bands. That's an insane amount of pressure. Most of my friends have said they would never join band if this was the case for them. And I know that they are some of the most talented musicians I have ever met. I know I would not have made it through high school if this was implemented in my district when I was that age. These are important. The arts are important. Music is important. Learning from band the skills we use in our everyday life. Perseverance, patience, practice, and passion. If we use these skills in everything we do, we can succeed in everything. And that is what being in band has taught me. I appreciate your time and ask that you keep this in consideration. Thank you.
We had 1 minute to spare. Like, I can't believe it. I might have to take that 1 minute personal privilege.
You got it.
I would like to thank everyone tonight for the collegial way in which you have done our public comments. They've been at all different temperatures for the last several months, and this has been a nice sort of even tone. I'd also like to recognize Fred. You'll probably hate this, but Fred Merrill, who spoke. I had the privilege of working with Fred for many, many years as a brand new board member when I came on the school board. And Fred, he brought goats to school. He lets goats in his house. Not anymore, I understand.
I know. Different time, isn't it?
Different, yes. But the thing that Fred was always
after us about was that he wanted us to be #1 in reading in the state of Maine. That's what he wanted. And that sticks in, there's so many Fredisms that are part of me now, but the one thing I remember all the time is the children. You're absolutely right. We are here for the children, for all the children, for their education. And if we can help our students in MSAD11 to be #1 in reading, that would make me happy and proud. And I think, Fred, you would probably like that as well. So I'm happy you're here and thank you for your speaking, and my personal privilege is over.
I'll be here for a while.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. All right, next on the agenda. Review and prioritization of approval agenda and the minutes, clarification of items and alterations of the established agenda format sequence as needed.
Sure, I have one additional change. There was a revision that went out yesterday afternoon. And so you all should have received that. Just one more addition, which would be under staff transfers, under general information. And that would be Rachel Foth. We're transferring her from an Ed Tech 2 position in the STEPS program to an open Ed Tech 3 position in the same program, STEPS, at the Helen Thompson School. That's the only addition or change that I have.
All right, thank you. So motion please to approve the agenda as altered. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Approval of the minutes of previous meetings, special school board meeting of March 5th, regular meeting of March 6th, and the special board meeting of March 25th. Motion to approve. Moved and seconded by Tony and Joanne. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Excellent. Recognitions and celebrations, nothing to celebrate. I'd like to celebrate that we all woke up and we breathed in air. Correspondence as written. Committee meetings, capital area tech.
There was no meeting. There will be a meeting in April, but the date is to be determined. Yeah.
Curriculum committee. Yes, March 4th, we had our curriculum committee. We had a couple of programs of studies updates about ELA freshman intervention. It's in your packet. And then we talked about the opportunity culture. That just reminded me, I'll make sure Angela sends you that. And instructional leadership, yep. And there's some materials there as well that you can take a look at. That was it. Thank you. Welcome. Finance committee, well, dropout. Oh, I'm sorry, dropout prevention. Woo, awful. Amen. Were you there? Was anyone there?
I was there. So recently we sent out in January a survey to staff trying to. You don't think I'm loud enough?
It's about visibility, not just.
Okay.
Those are some pretty blue shoes, by the way.
I know.
Those are nice.
I know.
Okay.
And you notice I'm not in a booth, it's very
Yeah,
exciting.
right, no booth.
So we recently in January, we sent out a survey to our staff looking for what kind of community engagement do we have? One of the things that we have found and is in part of our strategic plan is really reconnecting with our community. What resources are here, the organizations, and how do we get them back into our schools? We know COVID put a great divide in those spaces. So we reached out to our staff, gathered some information on what community resources do you already use? What do you want to see? And so our last meeting, we spent the time analyzing that data, looking for themes, so that at our meeting coming up this Tuesday, we can look at those themes and start talking about what kind of action plan we want to do. So that's kind of where we wrapped up that.
Perfect. Thank you. Finance committee, we've had a meeting on March 11th, March 18th, March 25th, and April 1st. And April 8th, which was just
The minutes
2 nights
aren't
ago.
done yet.
I would, rather than, we're working on the budget. That's 100% what we've been doing. And we started at a much higher number than we're at now. We needed to shave
roughly $2 million from the budget in order to get our percentage under our percentage to taxpayers. It's a complicated formula, but to get it below into single digits, not double digits. And through some very, very weekly hard work, daily hard work from our superintendent and all of our administrators, just trying to provide for every need for every student, but do it in the best, most economical way for taxpayers. And we represent students first, taxpayers are second, only because that's what the statute says. But it does not mean we don't consider the taxpayers. We're all taxpayers. We are at this moment, and we'll go over it more deeply when we get to that line in the agenda. But we are down to 4.39%, which is, we'll hear more when we get to that. However, the finance committees have been 100% dedicated to crafting a budget that we could all live with, that continues to take care of all the needs of our students, without making cuts that are hurtful to anyone. So I would encourage you all, if you have a few hours, to watch our finance committee meetings. They're all on our website. They are all live streamed, and they are informative. So if you have interest and concern about how the district spends its money, that's a very good way to get there. So I encourage you to watch them. Anything else that I've missed? No, we'll talk about it during the budget. Okay, thank you. Policy committee.
Sure. So we met, just met this evening, but the policies that we have listed in this agenda refer back to the March 6th meeting that we did. And so we reviewed the policies as listed there. Just as a quick review, some of those are updated statutes and recommendations from our attorneys to comply with current law. So that's one of the reasons we do an update. We also do regular review of policies so that those are updated within a 5-year cycle, again, unless a statute brings out another change. So from that meeting, we tabled a couple of, we just ran out of time for completing all the review. We tabled a couple of proposed policies, which we reviewed tonight. That'll come forward in our next regular meeting. So what I have, after that overview, I have the policies listed. If I could make a motion to accept these listed as a bundle for first reading.
You have a second. Motion by Tony, second by Matt. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Great, motion carries. Thank you, Tony. Wellness committee. This is our wellness guru. Angela?
Wellness, sorry.
Are you wellness?
Yeah, we did not end up meeting, right? Short meeting, right? We had a conflict on that day that we were supposed to meet.
Okay.
I had a conflict and then I think I created a conflict with the professional development plan.
Well.
So we need to reset our quarterly meeting and get that established.
Okay.
Again, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's not like you haven't had anything to do, so no worries. We will catch up with that. Do we have a student rep report tonight since we have no student reps? We do not. One is homesick and the other is on a college tour, so neither of them could be here. Okay, so we'll move on from there. Administrator reports. Oh, it's date night. I love it.
That's why I had to stand at the door. I had to wait for him.
When the Dostys come, it's date night.
It's exciting times. Exciting times.
Everybody needs to get out.
Hello, I'm reporting for elementary schools. At LER, noteworthy, Elizabeth Newendorf, a coach from iReady. Our math curriculum was there on Tuesday. Together they did math walkthroughs of the grade 1 and 2 classes. They spend about 15 minutes in each class observing math lessons. Elizabeth praised those teachers for posing purposeful questions to students to deepen their understanding of math concepts and strategies. The challenge, mud season is here. Our field is unusable right now, but we're making outside recess work. We've had to have more indoor resource lately due to the weather, which does impact student behaviors when they can't get out and expend some energy and get the fresh air they need to help them regulate their bodies. Riverview, noteworthy. We just finished a Scholastic Book Fair and it was a fun week of students choosing books. We also had Elizabeth Nunendorf from iReady here on April 2nd. She met in grade level PLCs to discuss math discourse and then did classroom walkthroughs. She also praised teachers for asking questions that deepen students' understanding of math concepts and strategies. Riverview's challenge, spring fever has hit and students are craving being outside and in the fresh air. With this comes an uptick in behaviors across the grade level, and we are working together to address the behaviors to support our students and teachers. Helen Thompson, noteworthy. During our most recent trimester 2 conferences, we had a 93% attendance rate. This is fantastic as it shows a commitment to homeschool partnership and helping students succeed at school. Our PTG funded Chilwaukee visits for all of our classrooms and students learned about animal adaptations, tidal pools, and biomes. Their challenge, we are having a hard time filling staff vacancies with substitutes and have found it necessary to use support staff members to cover student services.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
Are absent. And at PRCS, noteworthy, we had a strong 77% attendance rate for our spring conferences, which is up from our fall conferences and last spring's conferences. And we are excited to be welcoming an author and illustrator, Kevin Hawks, to our school this month, which was today. And we have been preparing for his visit in the weeks prior with an author study in the library. Our challenge is finding space. We appreciate the flexibility of all who visit to provide outside services, one-on-one learning, assessments, and volunteers. It is a domino effect.
All right, got secondary. So for the middle school, they're noteworthy is that their 8th graders spent the day at UMA on a field trip to get the college experience with a tour, as well as to spend time at the Holocaust Museum to connect with the units they're currently studying in their classes. Students came back excited about what they had learned, excited about what college life is actually like. Falcon Night was a huge success with 219 of our 6th and 7th graders spending the night for a night of fun.
I'm still recovering, so tired.
Sounds exhausting.
A huge thank you to Russ Anderson and Jeannie Laceby for organizing and running this event, as well as to the many staff who stayed up all night with the students to ensure a successful event. Smiles were contagious, and this is the best thing that's ever happened to me were words that were heard all night long. Memories were definitely made that will last a lifetime. For a challenge, we've seen an uptick in student conflict out on social media, as well as in the community that is filtering back into school. We've been doing a lot of investigation and peer mediation to help settle and address these layers. At the high school, we had parent-teacher conferences on March 27th. We'd like to thank all the families who took the time to come in and connect with our teachers and support student success. On April 3rd, we were excited to welcome the UMaine Symphonic Band, who performed for students in grades 5 through 12. It was a great opportunity for our students to experience live music from talented musicians. Also on this date, our students of the month, grade 9, Sawyer, PA, Alyssa Olge, grade 10, Isabella Binns, grade 11, and Grace Bartlett, grade 12, was also celebrated at the Rotary Breakfast. Science testing for grade 11 has been kicked off. It started April 3rd and we're going through the 9th. And we'd like to encourage our juniors to come prepared, rested, and ready to do their best. We'd like to congratulate one of our math teachers, Miss Carolyn Arline, for being selected as one of just 10 educators to receive exclusive training, curriculum, and resources for smart greenhouses. This amazing opportunity will help bring innovative hands-on learning experiences to our students. The Smart Greenhouse program is developed through a collaboration between the Maine Mathematics and Science Alliance, in Boston College's Lynch School of Education and Human Development. It's an NSF-funded initiative that integrates plant science and computer science to address challenges in horticulture. And Carolyn plans to embed this work in her computer science course next year. And lastly, we're putting the final touches on our high school end of year calendar, and we'll be sharing that out to families early next week. Thank you for bearing with us. It's been a tight schedule. For a challenge, we've had an uptick in bathroom vandalism in boys' bathrooms. And while this has been an issue recently, we've made a great progress in identifying those who are responsible and taking appropriate action. We've increased frequent bathroom checks, implemented a staff documentation system, and we appreciate the many students who have stepped up to help improve this situation. And a huge thank you to our custodians, staff, and students for their efforts in keeping our schools safe, clean, and respectful for everyone. In athletics, spring sports have kicked off at the high school and middle school. We currently have 174 registered spring athletes at the high school across 7 sport offerings and 85 students at the middle school across 3 sport offerings. A challenge is that the weather is not cooperating with us so far this spring. So it could be a little bit before we're able to get out on the fields. And right now teams have been practicing in the gym. You want me to keep going? Okay. Oh, can I just volunteer?
Can I use that?
Huh? Yeah, you can use that.
Put it in frame.
You give me the look as I keep going.
We're like, well, I'll just keep
You
reading.
just keep talking. It's fine. Sorry, 194 athletes. Had a moment and read that one. 190.
No, he wrote it wrong. It says 174.
Oh,
Who does? Well, it's well over 200 now.
Because I remember that from the other day and I was like, oh.
My bad, my bad.
It's all good.
It's up over 200 now.
Technology. A YubiKey is a small hardware security device that provides strong 2-factor authentication, enhancing cybersecurity by protecting accounts from phishing and unauthorized access. A grant valued at approximately $25,000 was awarded to MSAD11 from the state and local cybersecurity program to provide YubiKeys for staff, safeguarding sensitive information and strengthening digital security across our organization is a priority. Plans are being made to ensure smooth implementation. The challenge is each student is assigned a laptop for their use only to help foster a sense of responsibility and pride in maintaining their device. Proper care ensures that these essential tools remain in good working condition for learning. However, we have seen a concerning increase in students picking keys off their keyboards, which must stop. This behavior not only damages the devices, but also disrupts learning. We urge staff, students, and parents to work together to reinforce the importance of respecting school property and making a positive change in behavior. By working as a team, we can ensure that every student continues to have access to a fully functional laptop for their education. Noteworthy, the second interdisciplinary literacy work this year my report, I should know that. Interdisciplinary literacy work this year concluded with a showcase event during our early release day on March 13th. We launched the work in March 2024, trained literacy facilitators over the summer, and created interdisciplinary teams in August. The teams engaged in action research to learn and implement literacy and engagement strategies with students and study their impact on learning. Some of the facilitators will be sharing their experience or did share their experience with the curriculum committee members during their monthly curriculum meeting on April 8th this week.
And you can watch that live stream if you'd like.
And the challenge. Andrea Dish and I have been working diligently to close out the fiscal year 2024 ESEA, that's the title money, federal grants, and successfully did so last week with the Maine Department of Education. As we enter the assessment window for our spring state tests, administrators will start planning for end-of-year analysis of their data with their school action.
Don't matter.
Angela? Yeah, maybe she can say.
Angela?
Angela? And cell phone committee.
Tired, I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I'm not at my
I can't
best.
find any minutes, so.
Will you stay, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Because cell phone committee is next. So if you would give.
I
me
know, and
a
I'm
break.
trying to pick my brain because we have a meeting next week.
Yes. We went,
The surveys and then.
we had already gone through the surveys. So what we did is we looked at, policies and procedures from schools
That's
that
right.
mimicked, or that were selected to represent different, approaches along a continuum of cell phone use or limiting the use of cell phones and smartwatches in schools.
Look, I have it.
And
Yes.
and we narrowed down how we would like to proceed in terms of which policies and procedures we'd like to look at with a MSAD11 context. And we're in the process of drafting that for Monday's meeting, at which we will have a discussion. And we did actually change our position slightly based on the feedback from students and families. So that data was impactful. So we don't have a recommendation yet because we're still in the process.
And those meetings are also live streamed, so anyone who's interested in watching may do so.
About once a month on Mondays.
Yeah, they're posted on our website.
Yep.
Excellent. Anything else she's in?
I think you're good now. I think you're safe. Yeah, the next one's Monday at 3 p.m.
Go ahead, get comfortable. We'll bring you
Yeah.
back.
Okay, general information as written.
Just as written.
Got transfers, that's a lot of, that's written.
A lot.
A lot that's written, okay, nominations, none, new business.
Right, we want to start with consideration to officially approve a middle school math team. So Sarah, would you like to speak to this one, please?
You just like me coming up to the podium.
I do.
So before COVID, there was a really robust math team at the middle school. And of course, as you know, COVID sort of put a damper on all of that. When we were finally lifted with some of those restrictions and we were allowed to kind of form those teams back together, we didn't have a coach at the time or an adult who was interested in picking that mantle back up. Last year, one of the district-wide math coaches was moved to the middle school to offer support to our staff. And students were like, we really want to do this. And she went, I volunteer as tribute. And so for the last 2 years, she has been running this math team and it has been incredible. This year we have about 12 kiddos on. Last year we had about 8. So it's gaining momentum and it's not just all the kids who are like, math is my favorite. It's even those kiddos who are like, I don't really love math, but I like math at the same time. And I'm finding I'm liking math more as I'm learning. And so it's been beautiful to watch this sort of, flower bloom in kids who didn't know that math was maybe going to be this thing that inspired them really come together. And so she's been doing this. I'm volunteering. The parents have been providing transportation to the meets. They do about 4 meets a year. 3 of them are actually housed in the school and then scores are sent. So we're part of a consortium, which of course has fees to it. And then the final one, they actually travel and compete at the facility. So we would like to actually bring this back as an official club because during one of the budget seasons, because we hadn't filled the position to have a coach for that, it was removed from the budget. But now that we're seeing the interest and the momentum building and even hearing from kids, I want to do math team next year, we would like to try to bring that back for our kiddos in a more official capacity.
You need a motion to do that?
Yes.
I'll make the motion for a stipend for a middle school math team.
Coach.
Barry, secondary.
Thank you very much.
I know the high school team is excited and they have cool videos they put on TikTok and
It's-
stuff, so.
I'm serious, getting to watch them and
Yeah.
they're all in there and they're so serious and they're collaborating. I mean, it's like, I want to join the math team. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mathletes. Discussion, yeah.
What is the financial cost for this? And is it part of, do we have extra money in the extracurricular budget to cover this?
Yeah, I don't have it right in front of me. It's about $1,300 for the stipend. Let me just confirm that. And you said that there are fees, right? And I don't recall what the fees are.
I'll come back.
It's like $300 or something.
It's
not-
about $500 to actually compete. It's $150 per grade level. And so we've actually built that into our own personal budget at the school to ensure that we could cover those costs. Like I said, parents have been providing the transportation, although there are, for the one where they all go together, there are some pieces. We've been very creative and very fortunate to have a wide range of resources to tap into, including a community partner who has helped provide some of the money to fund the busing for that, as well as like our REACH program. So we've been creative. How's that? Yeah.
And I'll have to go back to see what we had before, but it will be no more than 1,300.
And they don't have to go through the club 2-year thing.
They've been a club in the past, so
was-
it's,
So now they're
Okay.
official.
yeah.
Official, unofficial, after we vote,
Yes.
right? After we vote, right.
Yes.
And Andrea, do you think you can find $1,300?
Yeah, it isn't built into into next year's budget. I will look around.
Yeah, okay. So pending Andrea finding.
So we still need a vote.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Oh,
Wait, I'm
Chair.
sorry.
Yeah.
You said pending Andrea looking. Do we have to wait till after she
No.
finds the resources? Okay.
No, I'm certain that
Yeah.
Andrea finds resources, and I don't know how. But if you want to know, go see her. All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, was there another question? Okay, all those in favor?
All right, that was unanimous.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See. Chromebooks.
Yeah, you have this discussion every single year this time, right?
I'll put
That-
forth the motion about this, that we donate our Chromebooks to our graduating seniors. Gives them an opportunity before they start school.
And I don't know, Terry, if there's anything you want to add, but there's really no value after 4 years with Chromebooks, there's really no value, which is why it's been decided in the past to
A lot
give
of
it to
times by
seniors.
the time that the 4 years comes around, the OS or the machine that we're purchasing isn't the same as what the seniors are using. And so really, the only thing that would be is power cord, and right now we have a lot of power cords left over. It really gives kids that are gonna go to school a year or two at the very most. So if they're going to a technical school, it gives them a machine to get them through. And I checked with the high school person last year. There were about 60 kids that didn't pick up their laptops anyway. They left them with us. So the other 70 took them. Or however, how many people graduated last year? 115?
That sounds right.
148? Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
I have two questions.
Yes, absolutely.
The student's Chromebook, is it theirs for 4 years or is it reassigned every year?
No, it's theirs for 4 years.
Right.
And what is the approximate cost every year of replacing that Chromebook for the incoming freshmen? And
What was that question?
What is the cost of the new Chromebooks that we have to buy for the incoming freshmen?
Usually when we buy the incoming freshmen, if we have to buy those are about $450, including all the software.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So the ones that are left behind that aren't taken, are they recycled back into the system and rebooted?
We use those for parts.
Oh.
We use, like if a machine gets broken, we use the screen. If Johnny shows up and he has lost his Chromebook charger, that's the charger we give to Johnny. So we do use some of those parts. Like I said, though, sometimes that Chromebook model isn't in production anymore. So we only use those parts until those are gone.
So you don't use you don't take the whole device and recycle it back and reissue it?
If Johnny comes in and all their keys have been picked off, I don't give Johnny another brand new one. We give Johnny one of the recycled old ones that wasn't taken because they've already picked their keys off, you know? If it's a purposeful thing, but a lot of times we don't. If you ask the elementary principals, we used to take the laptops that were used at the high school and put them in the elementary schools. It did not go well because those machines, the batteries were dead in them, they didn't run well, they weren't in great shape. And so that really wasn't a popular thing to do, is recycle those machines. Nobody wanted them after 4 years of use.
We've also used some as our kiosks for our hall pass system. That's been helpful.
Chromebooks are not like MacBooks that can be, they're designed to be a little bit disposable.
item at this point, yeah.
They're designed to be a little bit disposable. We used to, through the MLTI, have.
Planned obsolescence.
Yep. Yes, they have planned obsolescence, and we should talk to landfill about that, but yes, they do have that. And we used to have the MLTI project that provided MacBooks for schools. But because of the expense of the MacBooks, we went Chromebooks because they have a limited lifespan, and they are not nearly as expensive as the MacBooks to purchase. They were like a third of the cost.
And we still do have the MLTI project that gives usually one grade level a Chromebook. And that's usually we either pick 9th grade or 6th grade or 5th grade. And then they keep them for the 4 years. So we do still get, the state of Maine does support one grade level. So that is helpful.
And MLTI is Maine
Learning
Technology Institute.
Yeah. Do we have a sense of how many of the students that do get them, the seniors that got them last year, like they take them with, do we have a sense of that they use them at college or tech school or?
Some of them do.
Yes, I'm getting thumbs up and yeah, right, so. Yeah.
Because the other option is you go to state surplus and buy like a state leftover, whatever, spend $200.
However, some schools, like my daughter goes to Central Maine Community College, and the requirements for her classes.
Oh, right.
The Chromebook isn't adequate to meet the
Right.
requirements.
It definitely depends on what your major is.
Yep.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry, let's see.
No, that's okay. I was just curious, what are the grades that, I mean, I'm assuming the elementary students, do they have the same book every year?
So during COVID, the feds gave out so many Chromebooks, it was like everybody had one. But now what we're trying to do is we're trying to get back into the swing of giving out each, the grade levels. And so what we're trying to work back into is 1, 5, and 9. Those are the grade levels, so that on the 5th year, it's a refresh for that grade level.
Okay. Other questions? So I'd like to entertain a motion. We don't have them. We do have a motion. So can we vote about Chromebooks? All those in favor of giving our high school seniors their Chromebooks? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Terry, for taking such good care of them that they're even able to be passed along for a little more life. Consideration to approve a cooperative swim team with Coney and Halldale.
Yes. So actually I have 2 proposals, and hopefully they will save us some money. So currently we are in a cooperative swim team with just Halldale. We are the host school. And I am requesting permission from you to join with Coney. The long and the short of it is hopefully we'll save anywhere from $9,000 to $11,000 by doing that.
Can you talk a little bit more
Sure,
about the
I can.
numbers
So-
and how many students participate?
Right now, we are paying about $11,000 in pool rental at the Kennebec Valley YMCA. Coney paid $13,000 last year. So combining our schools makes sense. We both swim at the same location. Combining coaches, combining transportation, combining officials fees, all that together comes up with the total savings that we'll realize. We will bring probably about 12 athletes to the program. They have more. They will be the host school. Halldale will still come along with us. So it'll be a co-op between Gardner, Coney, and Halldale.
How many students?
About 12.
We have 12 and they have
more. They have about 18.
Combined, they have
expect-
18.
No, they expect, Coney expects to have 18. We expect to have around 12. Halldale will have around 6. So.
Boys and girls.
Yeah, boys and girls, yeah, total. So right now, that would come out to be, right now, we paid $21,185 for swimming last year. The proposed or the expected numbers are anywhere between 10,214 and 11,047 is what we project our cost will be next year.
And Nate, it's my understanding that presently, when our students go to other meets, we have one of the smallest teams out there that they will go, they'll compete with other teams around the state. Then they will come in with much larger teams. And so this will kind of just bring us better in line with the size of the teams in other schools around the state.
Yeah, I mean, Edwardville is in a co-op with Poland and a couple other schools. They're one of the larger swim teams in the state, and they had 45 kids. So this will give us about 36. So it'll be a decent size swim. It'll be decent, a little bit above average, which is great.
So will meets be for both teams, like boys and girls at the same time? Is
Yes.
that, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, sure.
Would it be a cost for like a unified uniform?
So they don't necessarily have uniforms. They have their swimsuits. They all buy their own. It's not something that we purchase for them. So I think they coordinate, get the same colors. And so potentially that's something we would discuss.
Edwardville and Poland, aren't they far apart? No.
No.
No. Any questions?
I move to approve a cooperative swim team with Coney and Halldale.
Second by Molly. All those in favor? I think we've covered all the questions. Thank you. Motion
Great.
carries. Thank you, Nate.
And the next one, we currently have a boys ice hockey co-op with Waterville, Winslow, and Lawrence. So it's a 4-school co-op. I'm here tonight to ask permission to bring on Wiscasset and Richmond. So they have both schools have reached out to me to see if they could join our co-op. Wiscasset would, next year, we're looking at potentially contributing 15 hockey players to our program, which is the largest of all the schools. Winslow would be contributing about 7, Lawrence 5, Waterville 2, Wiscasset 2, and Richmond 1. So when we add Richmond and Wiscasset, our projected savings would be about $1,500. So, and that would also give us decent numbers so we could help support our program and help it grow. Because right now, I think this year we had 17 kids. Yeah, so we have a lot of freshmen coming in next year for us, which is great. And then adding, a couple more schools, they may potentially add more players as well. So these are just projected numbers, but this is what we anticipate.
Does that give us enough for like JV and varsity or?
Well,
maybe not?
So it would.
Yeah.
However, we don't have JV under our policy. We've eliminated our JV program. However, there is something in the talks about maybe having those kids play under the umbrella of the Thomas College Ice Vault. That's something that we're talking about, which wouldn't be any cost to us. It would just allow those kids to play, which would be great. Yeah.
Is there still?
Not really the Moose, but something similar. It's almost kind of like a rec team that they would sponsor.
That's cool.
So
More like Sam or
something like
Youth
that,
Hockey or
yes.
whatever.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah.
Not the travel team.
Yeah, no, that's big bucks.
Yeah, not that one.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad that those things are still on.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to entertain a motion from someone.
I would move that we expand our boys ice hockey co-op to add Richmond and Wiscasset as proposed.
Okay. Second. Second from Megan. Megan never seconds. All those in favor? Excellent.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's all the money you have to save for us.
Yeah.
That's it for tonight.
That's it for tonight.
Thank you, Nate, very
Thank you.
much. Appreciate it. Let's see. Next
Fun stuff.
All right, here we go, yeah. So a motion to set the 2025-2026 district budget. So could we, I'm gonna call you. Okay, see you. So do you want a motion first and a second and then discussion? Yes.
I'll
Could,
move sorry, yeah, I'd move that we set the 2025-2026 district budget.
And a second? I'm to understand you want to talk about it, correct?
I want to make a motion to defer till a special meeting next week. So what is the process that we need to do?
Well, he's made a motion, so he would have to withdraw your motion. I don't have a second yet.
I second.
You did.
Okay, Brenda, seconds.
So they would have to agree to withdraw, I mean.
I'm not inclined to withdraw, but I guess we could talk about what the deferment would look like.
I mean, we, yeah, at finance, we voted to
Yeah.
bring it here tonight.
I just didn't make the motion fast enough. You did it first. Good job, Tony.
So does it make sense with the motion, and you're gonna do a discussion, is for Andrea has provided all of you with the backup documentation. This is what was approved by the finance committee on Tuesday night. So what you have in front of you, and again, Andrea, I will have her step in if I say anything inaccurate or if you need to add more. So as Becky said, the budget started at $2.7 million. When we first looked at it, it included 10% health insurance increase. It included no new positions. If I recall, a lot of facility needs, some transportation needs, some other needs within the district. And we have whittled away, really looking at looking at enrollment, taking that into consideration. So we brought it down to 1.27. Our health insurance, we originally built 10% based upon what we were hearing from the MEA. And we really hit the mother load, right? We really jackpot is a better term. We really lucked out. The base was going to be 3%. They said between 3 and 14%, and ours came in at 3.5%. So we were able to remove over $200,000 from the budget as a result of that. So the budget that the finance committee approved is a 1.27%. So you'll see how that is broken down in the warrant article, in the warrants. Andrea has also provided the requested budget, it's the first page. And that 1.27% increase, while that's $411,000, the impact to taxpayers is 4.34% or $583,000, almost $584,000. And part of that is due to the fact that our town evaluations increased, our enrollment decreased, and we started off in the hole by $200,000 in terms of state revenue. So there's that. Also included in the packet, in the next section are all of the reductions that were made. So you can go through and you can see, yep, exactly the reductions. Almost $650,000 was removed from regular education. You can see what they were and the price or the cost associated with them. Special ed, $710,000. A lot of that, most of that really had to do with out of district placements and with seed money. We do not contribute towards capital area tech, so there's no money there. Other instruction reduced almost $47,000. That would be your athletics, your play, co-curricular, those types of things. We had student and staff supports, reduction of 3.89%, just shy of 137. That would be like guidance, nurses, right? Are your nurses in there? You have system administration, 6,000. You have system school administration, almost 33,000. Transportation, almost 129,000. Facilities maintenance, that was another biggie, where that was reduced almost another 600,000. So you can look through and see exactly what was cut and the costs associated with it. The next sheet demonstrates where we started the first budget meeting. What the budget was, the prior year adopted, and the difference. So you can actually scan across and be able to see that we began with an 8.37% increase. That's where the $2.7 million started, and where we ended with the 1.27%. So you can glance at that. Andrea has also provided the impact to taxpayers. She's broken it down in, I guess, just one way that I see it. I don't see the other side. But this is what a property owner would pay in each of the towns based on the valuation of their house, given what the proposed budget is. So people could see what the district's share would be. That does not include the municipality share. It's not the county. This is the district's. And then, yeah, then there's nutrition. Did I miss anything, Andrea?
The only thing that I would correct is that there is an addition of a new position. There's an impact time custodian.
For this
So that
office.
is the only new position in the budget. But other than that, I think you covered it.
Thank you.
That was included in the budget.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, the person who was maintaining this office retired. And it was an hour a day and it was not sufficient. This building was not being cleaned and properly being taken care of. And so we've looked at adding a custodian, a half-time, part-time custodian as a result.
So let's talk about it.
Okay, I still would like to have that administrative assistant put back in, and my reasoning is that it's very likely that we're going to have a shortfall in federal funds if the Department of Education is eliminated and we don't get that Title I money of $1.3 million. At that point, and Andrea, you can correct me, if it's not already included, we can't add it back if we need that person to help with the rescheduling of our students, if we have to consolidate schools, if we have to change things around. I think that's an awful lot of work to be done in that department. And that's my reasoning. We really haven't talked about what we're going to do if we don't get the money. But I think we need to have the support staff to help with any of the changes that need to be made if we don't get it.
So for clarification, that position has absolutely nothing to do with federal dollars. So if we lose the $1.3 million, which is tied to Title I money and tied to special education, it's the central office that will have to do all of that work. Has nothing to do with the administrative assistant in the guidance department at the high school. Sorry.
All of our Title I dollars are reserved for elementary schools.
Right, yeah, so that's, there's no connection to those two things.
Now, let me just for clarification, so we would be cutting special ed in elementary school?
No, there's $1.3 million is a combination of IDEA, that's special education funding and entitlement funding. And that is for a portion of our special education budget that you haven't seen yet because it's separate, right?
I shared the outline of local entitlement IDEA and the ECEA grants during one of our meetings and what funds, what funds what, I guess.
Yeah. And
so, yeah.
Title I, Title II, Title IV moves to 5, and therefore Title V funds staff in positions at the elementary level for intervention. And that's not part of the budget.
If we don't get the 1.3 million, where does it have to come from? What has to be cut?
Those positions unless the board decides otherwise. So we would lose all of those federal grant positions unless
For
the board
IEPs and
decided to
such in
cut other
elementary.
things. So our budget is fluid. The money's there, but the board can decide to repurpose within the expenditure articles. So I would assume that we would come back to the board and ask how you would like us to proceed. But the option of increasing the budget by 1.3 million is not an option because the voters at that point would have already voted.
So we could reduce the expenditure in any of the articles to make up that 1.3?
So there are rules regarding, everything needs to stay within expenditure articles. That's how the state designed it. The board has authority to move a certain amount within each expenditure article to the other. There are restrictions about what can be done. So can we move everything? The answer would be no, but the board does have some authority to move between expenditure articles, but it's limited.
Audrey, so I know we had money left over in reserve in that special ed reserve from like just unpaid, unfilled positions. Would we have enough money just to be able to get us through to the next like year if that did become a shortfall?
So that reserve fund is being used to actually buy down this budget to the taxpayers.
Okay.
So that money is already put aside. Also, or school districts also do not have the authority to use unallocated fund balance. The only monies that we are allowed to spend, as far as taxpayer money or general fund money, is the monies that the voters vote on at the district meeting and at referendum. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that the same as the carry forward, Andrea?
Unallocated fund balance and carry forward, I use the same interchangeably, so if I confuse people, my
Just double
apologies.
check.
That's a good clarification,
Yes.
though. Clarification, right?
We're not, I mean, we can't deal with hypotheticals.
No.
We've got a budget in front of us and that's what we have. The state of Maine has chosen to butt heads with the federal government, and we might have to pay a penalty for it, but right now.
Actually, the penalty's already being paid all across the nation. Has nothing to do with,
Excuse me,
That's politics, and we don't need to do that. Jeff has the floor. Thank you.
the state of Maine has decided to take a stand on an issue that's gonna possibly cost not just the school district, but all of them some real financial pain. But we're not discussing that. That's not the budget. Our
Right.
budget is already in
What's
front of
right
us.
here?
I think it's important to remind people that the budget that we have, when we say we're cutting, we're not cutting what's existing, we're cutting what's been asked for.
no.
I mean, we've had a budget that's been asked a certain amount over what last year's budget was, and we just said, well, we can't have that type of an increase, so that's why we're down to an increase of 4% on each, 4.3% on the town, so we're not trying to cut anything that's in place. I mean, you might have to adjust things and move them around because of money, but the reality is we're spending just as much, in fact, a little more than we ever have, so.
I think it's important to be really clear about that. So I'm gonna have Pat.
Well,
and
just,
Andrea to.
you know, we are cutting things that are currently in the budget. Now, the budget increased for lots of reasons, health insurance, for salary increases, all of those things. But we are actually making some reductions. Now, the reductions are in response to like decline in enrollment is one of the things that we talk about. But that doesn't mean that there is no impact and that it isn't a decline from the current budget, because there is. I mean, we are eliminating a pre-K because we don't have the enrollment projected for next year. We're eliminating 2 kindergarten positions because, again, we're not expecting the enrollment for next year. But they're in the budget now, so it is a real cut. Looking at a science position, a business ed position. So we are cutting current
I
positions.
understand that. I'm talking total expenditures. You know, you have to make decisions about the big lump of money.
Right,
I understand that.
Yes.
And that's why you're talking about the positions that got removed.
Right.
But that's a cut.
You have to make this, that's a very hard decision. I understand it, but we're still spending more than we ever have. And that's the bottom line. That's what we have to realize.
We get, just a second, yeah, we get the ED 279 and it tells us how much less we're gonna get than we got last year. And yet it's gonna cost us, because we gotta get to the first floor of the building.
Mhm.
So that's kind of where we are. Yes, Michelle?
So I have 2 issues with this. The first one is that it is the budget in front of us. It is the result of so much hard work. I came to, I think, all but one of the finance meetings to watch and to learn, and but there is still something up in the air. There is still that 1.3 million. And so my understanding is that the deadline is tomorrow. I'm not talking politics. There's a deadline tomorrow. We should find out whether we'll have that money or not. So part of me doesn't want to pass a budget that we don't know if part of that money will be there. And so part of me wants to say, if we defer this out till next week and do a special meeting like we had talked about at the finance meeting on Tuesday night, I realize I'm backtracking on what I said. I do apologize, but
No, it's fine.
I didn't realize the imminence of the deadline for tomorrow. So it is a budget, but it might be a fake budget because of things outside of our control, outside of all the amazing work all the administrators did. So that's my first concern. My second,
Can I just add one thing? I received, I believe that you must be talking about Title VI. And the potential impact for Title VI. And if so, the state education chiefs across the country have received an extension to April 24th, not tomorrow. So
I'm talking about the Department of Education, if they don't comply.
Right, with DEI,
Yes.
which is Title VI.
Okay.
And so that extension, which was the 11th, has been changed to the 24th. Which is too late for us to
We
make
have
a
to set our
decision.
budget
So,
before that.
just so you know, yeah.
Right.
Okay, so that information came in this week. Yeah, that we were notified.
Okay. My second concern, if that's okay, does anybody else want to speak to my first concern? Okay. My second concern is the emails that we received yesterday and today. We as a board are here to represent students. And the way that I represent students may be different from the way that somebody else in this board represents students, but we all have our heartfelt beliefs. And one of my beliefs is literacy. I mean, statewide, our testing scores are low. And this district, just for those who don't know, just underwent this amazing literacy initiative where not only did students learn more, become passionate about reading and literacy, but the educators in our buildings learned to work with each other better and got more rapport and collaborative, and I'm excited to see what that's gonna play out to be. But today I received emails as well, and the English teacher spoke at the podium earlier. We all received emails about classes that are being cut, the Holocaust and civil rights. We are in a very contentious society. And so there were 2 students who had these impassioned pleas of, please don't take these classes away from us because of what they learn and how they, are able to learn about each other. And I went to a Holocaust exhibit in Boston several months ago, and they had actual posts from Auschwitz. And I walked in and I just cried. And I was like, wow, it's just so impactful. And the second thing, the creative writing. There's creative writing classes that are being cut, and there was a student who said that she's not sure if she'll be able to pass English if she's not able to engage with it. And English is very hard for some students, but if you can have a class that engages with stories and creative writing and poetry and all these great things. So I'm concerned that those, and I also, the science classes are also very important as well. But I do understand we could cut an entire position, but I'm not sure that these particular classes should be cut. So that's my concern with the budget now. Hearing from students today, actual students saying these classes matter to us. And so I guess I wanted to come back to the board after reading those messages and say, what can we do to help these students? So
I'm glad that you raised that, because those emails did go out. I want to say that they're not entirely accurate. So we have Lauren here who can actually speak to the fact that they're not being cut.
Okay.
I appreciate our students have voices, and that's what we encourage. So just to recap how our process works, we register for classes. We take all of our course registrations. Then I start the work with our department chairs of like, okay, here's how many students enrolled for this class or registered. This means we might need to run this many sections. Then what I have my department chairs do is run me scenarios. What does that look like? Who teaches what? And then I come in and I review that work and I make some decisions as well. So we had that feedback come in today. I ran the scenario with the department chair. Again, this isn't finalized, but we can run Holocaust and creative writing.
Wonderful.
Yep. So that might look like 1 each semester. It might look like 2 each semester. We're still working through that right now. But we are prioritizing to not lose those electives because the enrollment for those classes are high, 38 for creative writing and 33 for Holocaust and civil rights. And we know that our students benefit those classes. So they're important to us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
We can let our police officer go home if you'd like.
Oh, I love that.
You're not begging to stay. This is riveting.
Thank you for being here.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you. So,
Right.
so do you feel as though your questions have been satisfied?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, no, and they're really good questions. We need to understand. And I think a lot of, I'm kind of a visual and doer learner. So when everything is just talked about, I don't necessarily understand the big picture. So I think your questions are good, and I'm very happy that we have the paperwork here in front of us so that we can go through it. So Molly, your hand.
I just want, I know it's actually already been, there's been a response. But Jeff, just to your comment that, that we're not, cutting, there's 13 positions that we're eliminating this year. And some of those were based on, reduction in enrollment and whatnot. But
I was talking the total money issue. That's what I'm talking about. I know that, I know you had to move things around inside this, and that means cutting positions, but I was talking the total financial impact.
I just don't take
attrition at a cost.
lightly
Yeah.
the
No, I
number
think-
of positions that we
Yeah.
are considering cutting this year. And
No, that's the reality of student body. Things change, you have to change with it. It's.
I understand your position. I hear you, Molly. My heart hurts for 13 people that are not any longer, it just passes.
Some of them are open positions.
Some of them are
They're
open
not
positions that have,
necessarily-
I know.
Okay, I want to
Some
be
are
really
positions
clear.
that have never been
Sorry.
filled, but there are people, a few people that are members of our community who have purchased homes and live here, and all the things that happen when you are part of a community that will no longer work here, and who have loved what they're not put in. So anyway, it has an impact. All of it has an impact. And our job is to balance the budget and make the budget work. And that's just that's just hard. We can only have what we have. Spend what we have.
Becky, I would also like to thank Nate for funding the middle school math program with the swimming cut. So that
It's the least I could do.
That's that new math we were talking about, right?
Look at you, Nate.
Thank you.
Yes.
Just because I'm a simple guy. This year is like a 4.3% raise.
Yeah.
Over last year.
Yeah.
Last year's budget was just under 6, if I remember.
Yeah.
Okay,
Are you talking about two taxpayers?
Yes.
yes,
Okay,
yes, sorry, that's not me.
So we did
Yeah,
good.
back to taxpayers.
Yes.
We did good.
yeah.
It was
We did.
5.9, because I know it was important to stay under 6. last
It
year.
was real, I feel like it, I mean, I know this is very, very difficult, but last year felt particularly,
It was very
a
hard.
lot of back and forth.
There was a lot of
We had
back
a
and
lot
forth.
of back and forth.
And to me, honestly, it's very important for me personally, positions, not people. And that's our job, is positions, not people. So it becomes difficult when we know who it is that is gonna lose. That's not something it's not something we should know. So,
Right.
and I understand everyone is passionate and nobody's saying, take my job. But it's really important that we're able to separate out and do this work, which is balance the budget and care for our employees, absolutely, but it's better to not have faces sometimes.
I mean, again, I think we're going to have a lot of very difficult budget years as our enrollment continues to decline.
Sure.
And our valuation continues to increase.
Yeah.
That is how the state allocates subsidy. So, it's going to be a difficult trog.
Right.
So.
And with all the buildings that we have,
Yeah, yeah.
that's another thing that just really keeps our costs high, which is why consolidating anytime and anywhere we can would be a kind thing for all of us, for our students as well as our taxpayers.
Sidebar question, so we mentioned consolidation. Where are we gonna hear about the grant?
June,
Okay,
June.
you can let me finish. You know what I was gonna ask.
We know you, Matt. So, I would love to entertain a motion
You
to,
already have a motion.
thank you. I'd love to
We
move
just
on
need to
this.
call the vote.
Let's call it. All those in favor of setting the budget as it is? Opposed? And we know why. And I hope you didn't feel pressured to.
No, I was just taking a moment to thoughtfully consider.
Excellent. Thank you all for the rich discussion, for the explanations.
Next is the nutrition budget.
Nutrition budget, which is the last page.
So I would say that the nutrition budget is slightly different than the nutrition budget for the board. With the reductions to health insurance, I was actually able to reduce the nutrition budget. So what you see in front of you is actually less than the budget presented to the finance committee.
Excellent.
Because we think you have to net out to zero and you have to do that fun math
Right,
to
so-
try to.
Nutrition currently has money in their fund balance, and as a reminder, it can only be used for nutrition because it includes federal monies. I was able to use less of that to balance the budget.
We need a motion to approve the nutrition budget.
Motion to approve the nutrition budget.
Megan and Michelle, first and second. Any further questions, comments? All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. And again, thank you to Andrea for. all
My
your
only
work.
concern about the nutrition budget is in the event that federal government does not fund its portion of school lunch, then we may have them. It would all depend on how the state of Maine deals with their promise to feed students, so.
Right, because
We'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
We may have some
Agreed.
decisions to make.
Right.
All righty, moving along, old business none.
I'd like to make a motion, Madam Chair. I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add an item that
That's what we did at the beginning of the meeting, was to amend under the review and approval of agenda minutes, the prioritizing of items, that's when we make.
I missed the opportunity to do it.
He wants to add, something. He doesn't want to.
I understand.
It's amending the, but it's
But
amending
it's
the
still
agenda.
amending the
It's still amending
agenda.
it.
Is it, can Jeff say what it is?
If he wants to. Is it what you emailed me about?
Yes, it is.
So as I told you, I forwarded it to Pat and to Tony, as it's not my decision to make that change. So I will let them.
We didn't put it on the policy committee meeting.
Well, it wasn't for the policy, it was for the board to discuss.
But it goes through policy first, is my understanding.
The discussion was about a repeal of the policy.
I don't want to make that decision, but okay, you guys.
Can you
That
say what you're
would've
talking
been-
about for the rest of us?
He wants to repeal ACAA.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but wouldn't it go through the policy?
That's what I thought. That's why I forwarded it.
Right. I mean, my motion is to open the discussion about the repeal of the ACAA policy.
Well, I think that has to go through the policy committee first.
That's actually incorrect. Under Robert's
So-
rules, you can motion to rescind a policy at any time.
They can actually, but
This has never
again,
happened.
this is
That's okay.
not
Just-
It takes
this
a,
portion of the agenda, right? The portion of the agenda to make the modifications to the agenda was under section 5 for prioritizing and alteration of the agenda. So I guess it's up to the board as to whether at this time you want to add something else to your agenda.
And it was just revised last year, right? So it would come up again for.
He wants it rescinded,
Got it.
not revised.
So does Jeff need to make the motion for us to discuss?
I don't know how you want to handle
I
it.
don't know. What is the will of the board?
He's wanting to make a motion for something that currently doesn't actually
Exist.
totally exist,
Right.
is what's happening.
Right.
He wants to make he wants to make a motion for an agenda item that doesn't technically exist. So we have to approve whether or not we want to do that first, before we can get into the meat and potatoes of his idea.
Because this would have been, it really would have been done, like we said at the beginning, under
under
section
the Robert's
5.
rules of order, you can amend the agenda at any time. during the
Right.
meeting. But it takes a simple majority vote, either to
Right.
approve it or deny it.
Well, but that's why we have a section on the agenda for, that's the location for amendments.
And I apologize, I missed that. I should have paid closer attention. However, under the Robert's Rules of Order, I still am allowed to make that motion. And I ask for a vote on it. We've had a second.
To have the discussion or to just remove the policy?
Just to put it on the
To
agenda.
amend the
Put it on.
agenda.
You allow it.
We have a motion and a second.
Yeah, you just need a majority.
And the second was Michelle?
Yes. This is to amend the agenda?
Yeah.
After it's adopted, adding the agenda item requires a 2/3 vote by the
Right.
entire membership.
2/3?
2/3.
Correct.
So all those in favor of amending the agenda to have this discussion now about ACAA?
All right, you're gonna have to give me a minute, because I'm sure this is gonna be right here. Okay, so Jeff? Yes. Michelle, yes. Sean, yes.
Just what?
Just guessing.
Very yes.
Says the board over there.
Right, so,
Do we want to do all those opposed?
yes, all of those opposed.
All those opposed to it amending the agenda?
Okay, no one's abstaining?
No.
then it does not pass. Hmm,
9,000 to 4,000 roughly, same as the board chair vote.
yeah. I'm just short here.
1,068, I think.
Yeah, it would be the same vote as before, but just the opposite, so it would be 4508 to 9104, so it does not pass.
And the
Why am I
2/3 is
short?
9,074, yeah, okay. I'm not opposed to having the discussion, but it's really important for us to follow the agenda and to hit those catch points. And as soon as I got your email, Jeff, I'll happily show you, but as soon as I received it, I sent it forward because I know it's a big discussion. And I know that it requires, this discussion is going to require us to be fresh and kind and ready to have the discussion.
And I request that it be at next month's agenda.
And that's again, Tony, and that's Tony.
Well, I'm not inclined to consider it for policy. We've been through this. We've been through this over and over and over in this community. We've had special meetings, we've had regular meetings, we've had dedicated community meetings for it. We've made a decision, we voted on it. It's in place.
Well,
I understand your consideration, but I'm not inclined to add it to policy at this time.
Due to the circumstances that are happening all around us politically, or well, legally, I guess. You know, the state of Maine, as I said, is deciding to butt heads with federal government. We're gonna be affected. Other school districts that they have repealed, Great Salt Bay has voted to repeal theirs.
I don't serve for Great Salt Bay. I serve.
And others, I can't remember, but there are others already, because they see the reality.
And Maine's been a leader, is a leader, as Maine goes, so goes the nation. And I will get behind that very much. States' rights are a powerful tool and a citizen right. And so we're elected to make decisions for our communities, and that's what I have done in good faith to navigate, lead that discussion, be a part of that discussion, hear those discussions. And we have done that in good faith in these communities, and we've had these meetings. And so to keep second guessing that, I don't, that feels like not good faith at this point. I'm not sure what is the point in bringing that forward. So I hesitate to endorse moving ahead with that for the policy committee.
I could give you 3 good reasons why we need to discuss it.
Further.
Yeah, but if you won't allow it on the agenda, we can't do that. That's my problem, is that it needs to be rediscussed because of current events. Our policy actually violates our policy.
So again, we reviewed a little bit in when I did the policy committee review. Just to share, we do a 5-year annual rolling update of everything. We update policy per statute change, and we update policy in connection with other committees and other areas that these policies contact within the school system.
Can I speak? Briefly?
Sure.
Okay. I'm hearing a lot of motion on both sides. And I don't want to negate the work that you've done, because obviously this has been something you've poured your heart and soul into. The first school board meeting that I came to was in September, when that law was passed, when we changed the policy. So I hear your emotions. However, the law has changed since September. And so having the discussion about rescinding that should be a thing that we can do as a board. I know that a lot of us don't see eye to eye. Becky has said that she wants a fresh start. I'm trying really hard to get along with most of you, even though I don't agree with some of you. So I think that if we take a step back and not fight from, we've already done this, we need to do it again. If we can take a step back and just as a board, decide to have the conversation, something as simple as that, just have the conversation at our next meeting and understand that there has been a lot of work from all parties here on this policy. I went to the policy meeting where we were rescinding and I learned quite a bit from you. So I would ask that we don't look at it as a decision. We just look at it as a conversation. And in the next month, there could be a lot of things that change socially and politically that would drive the conversation even harder. So that's what I'm asking humbly for the board.
Yes. Linda and then Megan.
Sure.
I would just like to request that we continue on with tonight's agenda
Thank you.
right now.
That's what I was going to suggest as well.
Yep. And Tony, thank you. If you're not inclined to put it on the agenda, then that's. I respect that. And we'll move on from there. School board chair, I appreciate, first, I'll start with protocol reminders. First of all, I want to address how well we're doing this tonight. We're not screaming and yelling, and we're reminding ourselves that we're serving children, and I appreciate that. And we're going to differ on some things, and so I thank you for everyone for remaining calm and civil. That's one of the most important things we need to do together. Yeah.
Sorry, you're cringing. And under protocol reminders, I do want to address something you said earlier. You mentioned that the law changed 3 years ago about special board meetings. In the pamphlet provided to the families, at special emergency workshop meetings, public comments will be limited to the topics of the particular meeting. So that guideline that I messaged to you is also, and you said was no longer true, is actually still in our board policy.
We need to change the book. We need to change that leaflet because that's not accurate.
Okay,
The
so
law
if you
changed.
could, provide the law to us, that would be great.
Sure.
That updated law, that'd be great. Also, number 3, section B, speakers are expected to follow rules of common etiquette and decorum, making defamatory comments. Last night I saw another school board meeting where the board chair stood up to a parent who was making defamatory comments against board members. And I would hope that even though we don't all agree, that there could start to be a standard of saying that the way that you're speaking about a board member is not okay. I would hope that could be going forward.
I would like that as well. And I would also like for board members not to say ugly things about other board members. So it goes both, the door swings. It's a revolving door. So I would like to think that board members would be respectful and kind and not say anything unkind about another school board member or a parent or a community member. I would like to think that we're above and beyond that. And that
I would hope
because
so.
words matter. They matter for everybody. So thank you for that. And we will adjust our pamphlet so that it reflects the change in the law that was.
And if we're gonna be picking nits about public comment and all that other stuff, why do we let outsiders speak?
Have to.
What do you mean?
We have to let outsiders speak.
You have to let non-residents speak by law.
Well, the
And-
policy's 20 minutes, right?
Our policy is 20 minutes.
So if we happen to have residents or of the district who take up to 20 minutes, that's that.
We've been generous to just let people, but we do it with a vote and we have to do it accurately. Yes,
I
Joanne.
think the other thing too that we need to remember is that we are responsible to follow Maine state education law. And our policies are aligned with Maine state education law. So we can't just decide we're gonna rescind something if we have Maine state policy enshrined in the education law. And I think a lot of people think that we just make up policies based on what we hear from people and not have to follow our education law. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. So we agreed that we were gonna move forward and now we're not.
Yes.
Right. So we need to move forward. Can we get that law, Michelle, so that she can see?
I will take a look at that.
Thank you. See when it changed.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yeah,
are we beyond our time?
not quite yet, but we're getting there.
No.
And we do have a bit more to go. So I am wondering if I should save my board report for the next
That
meeting.
is your decision.
Madam Chair, I just
yes.
sent you a reminder about the email we got about the State
Yes.
House Day.
Yes, Day at the State House on the 22nd for
It's a
school board
worthy
members.
event.
It's super fun.
Yeah.
It's often poorly attended or not attended as robustly as we would like. So I would love it if everyone put it on their calendars for April 22nd. It's 10 o'clock.
Well, you gotta be there at 8:45, I think.
Yeah.
That's it.
So that you can get in and have place, but it's super fun. Get to meet people.
Cool.
Get to go into the chamber and get recognized. We'll have a minute with the governor if she's
say the 22nd?
22nd.
Yeah.
Yes. 8:45
AM.
AM, not PM.
Yeah.
And, yeah. If anybody's worried about parking, we could carpool. Everyone, please put that on your agenda, and I will, I did attend a National School Board Conference last week in Atlanta, but I will save that report for May. So that we don't overstay our time here tonight. Superintendent.
Just a few updates. One, status of the HT principalship. Want you to know that we have already gone through one round of interviews. We have finalists chosen and there are second interviews next week. Matt and Molly are representing the school board on that committee. We also have administrators and staff. So we will
parents.
need to have, I'm sorry,
And parents.
and parents.
Mhm.
We will need to have a special meeting next week. We've already talked about that a little bit in finance. One, to do the adult ed budget, but also we will need to bring forth a building principal. Hopefully we'll have one for next week. So that is moving forward. Wanted to let you know that I've heard from the Maine Department of Education and they have approved our request to modify the 24-25 calendar for the high school only. Remember, the high school missed 2 days, one because of water, one because of a threat. And so what they've approved is that 2 half days that the high school intended to have due to finals. Those will now be full days. And that will be counted as making up 1 day. And then while our elementary and middle school students, their last day of school will be June 12th. The high school's last day will be June 13th.
And those are full days.
No, those are usually half days.
Okay, because it's listed as a full day. on it.
Yeah, I didn't list them.
Okay.
But typically those are half days, the last
Okay.
day. So I wanted you to know about that. Update on the status of the district's agreement with Kennebec County Sheriff's Department for SRO services. They are not going to be able to honor that contract next year due to staffing issues. So they will reach out this year. So I will be reaching out to the Gardner Police Department. It is my understanding that they're fully staffed and they are interested in being able to provide us SRO services again. So you will hear more and there will be an MOU at some point, right, that hopefully we will engage with them. Office hours during April vacation, just a reminder, there's a holiday on Monday. Patriots Day, our office will be closed then, and it will also be closed on Friday, April 25th, to the public. We won't have staff to be able to open and close the door and all of that. So we'll be open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday that week. Student representatives, it's that time of the year where we begin trying to find a replacement for our graduating seniors. So I will be meeting with the sophomore class within next few weeks, waiting to hear back on date for their next meeting. Kiera will join me, and we will then begin the process of collecting applications. And then from those applications, we will interview them, and then we will have hopefully a student candidate to bring to you in June. So there's that. And I do want to update you on the status of the school-based health clinic proposal, the MOU. As someone was saying here, I'm just waiting at this point. It was sent off to attorneys to look at, to review. It had to go to insurance. I know it rested with our insurance company for about 5 to 6 weeks. It takes a while sometimes to get things turned around, and it is back in the hands of attorneys and maybe their insurance company. So once everyone goes through that process, they develop a final MOU or MOA, whatever we want to call it, then you will be notified. So you can, a meeting will be held for you to make some decisions. So that is my report. And that leaves us with an executive session for contract negotiations with bus drivers.
Perfect. Thank you all for being here tonight. It's been great having you.
Will you guys come back in and make any motions?
Yes, we will be making a motion.
Do you need me or are you all set?
Why don't you stay just in case?
I think you should go home and go to bed. Do you want to throw
So we
lots?
need motions.
Will we go into executive session?
Good night, Amber.
Yes.
Always so nice to see you. Let's do lunch.
So
Uh,
Becky, we have a motion,
And a second.
a first and a second. and-
All those in favor of going into executive session to discuss contract negotiation? Okey dokey.
Thank you for contacting other schools about the health clinic.
Oh,
I appreciate getting the firsthand information.
So that was actually something I was gonna I can help with that.
Let's do it.
We're back. All right, we're back. We're on.
We're back. We're on. I would like to entertain a motion to accept the
To
ratify the bus driver's contract.
So
Make a
moved.
motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Thank you. All those in favor? Yeah, it's done. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm adjourned.
Let's do it. We don't need to move, but thank you.
You wanna move though?
We want to move.
We wanna move.
We want to let's move right out of here.
Oh, yeah, he's back, right?
Yes.
Feel better, Linda. We all had it for like a day and then we realized some had it for like a week.